Hello, here's Faye, and today I wanted to start working on my TBR for the Spookathon running from the 15th to the 21st of October. Maybe you can help me a little bit. This readathon devoted to thrillers and everything spooky was started by Lala at Books of Lala, Shannon at Bookerly, and this year for the first time Peter at Peter Likes Books. All of those channels are really engaging and fun. I will link them, of course, down below. And yeah, there are 5 prompts. I've opted out of reading the group read, even though I really enjoy that, because I won't be here. I won't be at home in the week that the readathon is taking place, and I don't want to risk not missing the book in the mail. I also want to limit how much I am taking with me, because I'm, gonna travel with my handy dandy little rucksack and hoping not to need too much. So for the very first prompt to read a thriller, I'm considering 3 different ones. I don't want to take all of them with me. They are all very popular though, so maybe you can help me. I would prefer to take I See You by Clare Mackintosh with me. This 2016 release is her second novel, her debut novel, I Let You Go, I believe. I read and really liked. That was a sort of cool twist, domestic thriller, some really quite heavy themes in there. I found it quite difficult to read at times. And I believe Clare Mackintosh does also have a background in working in law enforcement. So I trust that she has also brought in some proper solid facts. I See You, I don't know much about, except for that it is a thriller, and I think the sort of trope, if that's even what you could call it, is that it's about stalking in some way. The main woman in this book finds her details and photos of herself, I believe, in the newspaper. Obviously someone is watching her. I think this will just be a really suck you in thriller, and I like the author's debut novel, so this would be a cool one. I have this on my Kindle, as you can see, so that would also be preferable for travel. I do also have You by Caroline Kepnes, which has been super popular. Everyone always says the most spooky thing about this sort of book about stalking and obsessive infatuation, the most spooky thing about it is that it is told in second person. Is that what you call it? Basically, you are addressed in this book, making it seem as if you are really being addressed by the perpetrator. I don't actually know if he does something bad in this book. Well, stalking's bad, but I don't know how far he goes. Yeah, everyone seems to have read this. I picked this up in a secondhand charity shop and could give this one a whirl. Or to fulfill the thriller prompt, I could read Good Me, Bad Me by Ali Land, probably. Super shiny cover. This one is about the daughter of a serial killer and how she takes on a second identity after her mother, who is the killer. Unusual for her to have the mother be the offender. She takes on a new identity to protect herself and allow a normal life, except she may not be that normal, and she's questioning whether the evil that subsides in her mother is also within her. I think that sounds really cool, and I think this one would also be a really quick read, not just because I tend to find thrillers quick reads anyway, but the typing is quite large and everything. So one of those 3 I will read for the prompt to read a thriller. I will not read all 3 because I don't want to take them all with me, and I also want to read other things, and I'll also be away and spending time with friends, and I've got to be realistic. Yeah, so tell me which one I should read. Which of those 3 is the best? Then the second prompt is to read a book with purple on the cover. For that, I've chosen to read The Collector by Fowles. This is a 1963 release about again, very frightening man who gets obsessed with a woman and decides, surely she'll be okay with me kidnapping her and keeping her captive in my home. The cover, I really like the fact it has a butterfly on it. I read The Butterfly Garden by author evades me right now a few years ago, which was probably inspired by this book, so I'm curious to find out what the butterfly, or is it moth, on the cover is going to tell us about the story. Looking forward to this one. The third prompt I think is a really fun one, and it is to read a book that is not set in our time, and it also fits in quite nicely with the Spooktober that I am attempting to take part in this month, and for that I will be reading The Invisible Man by H.G. Wells. This was published in, I just glanced to the side, in 1897, so I am trusting that this is not set in our time. This is about a man whose experiments go wrong, I believe, and he ends up invisible as a consequence of his experiments. But more than that, I have read people's comments on this book, and they say it's very much an exploration of what evil is and what kind of things can turn people evil. So I'm hoping that it is still an appropriate pick for the Spooktober. Also, it's nice and slim, and sometimes you need something to break up a readathon. And the last book combines the fourth and the fifth prompt. The fourth is to read a book with a spooky word in the title. The fifth is to read a book with pictures in it. And the last day of the Spookathon, 21st, is also the day that I will be back at home. So thankfully I will not have to lug this around in my luggage. I will be reading the volume 1 of The Walking Dead. This one has the German title, German translation, Gute alte Zeit. Apparently the English title for this is Days Gone By, as in Days Gone By. And I'm mostly really curious to see what I think of this in a German translation. A friend of mine who, funnily enough, is Irish and whose mother tongue is not German, still buys these in German to practice his German, and he lent this to me. So I am curious to read this one. The art is really like reduced, very like comic style, black and white, so I think I will fly through this one and hopefully manage to read this in the final day that I am back home. So those are all the books that I am hoping to read. I will also be taking an audiobook of Sherlock Holmes short stories with me. Not very spooky, but still in the sort of mystery crime genre, I guess. Just so that when I'm sort of walking around and traipsing around, I'll have something to listen to. Please let me know which of the 3 thrillers I should read. I am pumped to read all of them. I think they'll probably all be a good time, but I want to limit myself to make it somewhat realistic. Also, let me know if you've also made a TBR for Spookathon. I do really like seeing those, getting some ideas for thrillers, which I read far too little of, because always when I do, I really enjoy doing that. For that though, hope you're all excited for a really spooky week in October, and I'll see you very soon. Bye!